welcome back to the Corporate Burnouts. Hey, Mandy, how are you?
Doing so good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I am really sore right now. We're like in the thick of moving, getting everything like the final parts of moving and getting everything settled.
Yeah.
And it turns out lifting dressers into the back of trucks is not a strong suit for this 43-year-old body. My
Yeah.
body is like, hey, ladies, stop.
Why would you do this to us? I
I
can't
know.
even imagine. I obviously like I have to lift things sometimes and it sucks because you don't use those muscles.
Yep.
But we're getting ready to leave for Utah and every time that we go, I have to help lift the generator into the truck and when we get back, I usually have to
Help
lift
get
it
it out.
down and that's heavy and I can pretty much lift anything off the ground to just standing, right? But
Yeah.
when you lift something into a truck, that is
Yeah, it has to go
all
up.
all
I'm
these muscle
5'2",
there's
girl.
no
Like,
muscles
it's
here.
gotta
Yeah.
go up.
Yeah. At least I'm a little taller, geez, but, yeah, still, it's miserable, and luckily, some of the time, Brody's here whenever that needs to happen, right? But most of the time, it's just me because it's just like, "Let's just do this
Yeah,
really
it's
quick."
just
It
Dan
takes
and
no
Mandy,
time.
like, let's figure it out. Well, that's kinda how this has been. The girls have not lifted a muscle, which is totally fine. They're not moving.
Yeah.
That this is not their problem. I get
Mhm.
it. But, like, it has been me and Chase getting everything situated, and
Yep.
I am a person who has really, like, prided myself on, like, I'm a big, strong girl, like, I can do things. We don't call your buddies, I can lift this couch, we're fine. Regret is setting into
No.
my back
So,
right now.
I'm an independent feminist woman, and I know my strengths, though, and I would be like, "You know what? Lifting is for men." You know?
Yeah.
Like, women can do anything that men can do, but lifting things is easier for men. It just is.
Yeah, it
And
just
I
is.
want
That's
I
a
want them to be in
biological
charge of
fact.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think for me, it's about I don't want like it's going to take us longer if you have to call and coordinate with somebody else to come help when I can
Yes.
just do it, right?
Right.
And I
And the
did, and
things
I
that you're
could.
doing, yeah, are like, "Let's just move this to
Yeah,
another
let's
room
just
right now."
get it done,
Mhm.
and it's fine, and it's
Yeah.
done, and I'm gonna be fine. These are muscles that probably need to be worked out, and I should probably
Yeah.
address that in some workouts or something to be,
Mhm.
a little bit more fit. I am right now I'm a little bit stiff, but really excited. I mean, things are settling in and I'm I'm really happy. So
Yeah.
it's worth a little bit of soreness.
I'm happy too, and I'm happy that all this is happening and I don't have to lift anything. That is
Yeah,
the
you're just hearing
excellent
about it.
part about living so far away from your best friend is you don't have to help them move. So
Long
that's
distance
fun.
friendship. Yeah, I mean, I would pay you with beer and pizza. Like, come on over. And you'd be like, nah, fam.
No, I am an
How
adult
about
and
I
I'll buy
chip
my
in on
own
the
beer and
movers?
pizza. Yeah, seriously.
Oh,
And
help you pay
also
for
I don't
movers
wanna
that
I don't
will
wanna
not show
help with
up.
that either. No.
Well, funny story. You actually do help with that
Yes,
against your will.
technically.
It's fine.
Technically. Well, let's dive into our topic today. We have been
Yeah.
talking about corporate politics, and I think that it's very interesting because when we think about corporate politics, it all seems really negative. That negative connotation on politics in general is just kind of negative,
Yeah.
divisive. It's so many things. But when we look back, the corporate politics was important and not in a negative way, but to help move your career along.
Yeah,
And so
it's a
we just want to talk
necessary
about that
evil
today. Yeah.
for sure. I never really saw it as such, and I feel like, you know, you and I were very similar in that like I would just rather let my work speak for
Hmm.
itself, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
just going to put my head down, I'm going to work hard, people are going to see it and it's going to be noticed and that's just simply not always the case.
Yeah.
And for both you and I, differently and
Hmm.
also the same, we were fortunate enough to have leaders in our lives that saw the value in putting us in front of the right people so that the hard work we did do was actually seen by somebody who was going to give a damn and might be in a decision making spot that would help propel our careers forward.
Mhm.
I didn't see it at the time that that's what was happening. It was just
Mhm.
like, "Okay, sure, I'll send this email to,
Yeah, I'll
these
copy
higher up
this
people."
person on, yeah.
Right. And I just did what it was like, "Okay, this is like a protocol thing," when really, no, it was like strategic positioning.
Mhm.
And, I feel like, quote unquote, "playing the game" always felt really nasty to me. Like, I didn't wanna manipulate my way to the top. I didn't want to frame the hard work that I did or the job that I was doing to be more than it was, or have to, like, be the loud one in the room to get the attention. But looking back, like you said, I can clearly see how, had the right people not been in the audience of the recap emails or the presentations, or like copied on the right communications, if I hadn't have been in front of those people, I wouldn't have been talked about in the rooms where decisions were being made.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that I think that I wasn't as set up for that, right?
Mhm.
Like, I was so happy to fly under the radar. That was my goal, right? To make a paycheck, be valuable to the team. The team knew that I was valuable,
Right.
but
But the team
I
didn't make any decisions.
none. But what's interesting to me is that we had very different levels of recognition then for that, right?
Mhm.
But I was pushed from an early time to start getting in front of the right people. And what I found now on the other side of all of this is that I'm not the loud person who's going to be like, look at what I did. Everyone check this out. That's
Yeah.
very, that goes against everything that I feel inside. But what I have found, it is all about the relationships that you make, right?
Yeah.
It's really, it doesn't have to be the loud screaming, look at me. You just have to build the relationships, and you just need to have the conversations, the organic conversations that come from those relationships, that just let people know what you're about. Because I made networking and building relationships, I made that the most important part of my marketing for this business.
Mhm.
And people are talking about me in rooms that I'm not in, right?
Yes.
I'm building the relationships. I am teaching people things. I am hosting classes. I'm doing these different things. And I don't think of it as politics at all. And it's not office anything, right?
Right.
But
But it's all the same thing.
it
It's just
is.
the way that you look at it.
It's all the same thing. And because I'm making those relationships, my business grows. I am known to people. I am positioned as the expert. All of these things that you want in corporate, in your corporate job, I am figuring out now, but only because I'm spending the time building the relationships. It felt weird in corporate. It felt weird to be like,
Mhm.
I need to make sure that once a month I have lunch with our boss's boss, right?
Yeah,
I
because
didn't
it's like, why do I need my
Yeah,
boss's boss? Like, that feels like it feels inappropriate to
it
go
does.
above
But
your
the thing
boss.
is that there's absolutely, because he was still my boss in
Mhm.
just a different way. He was the leader of our entire department.
Yeah.
I should have been building more of a relationship with him. I should have been building with other people in other departments. I was not. I was staying in my lane, and I was flying under the radar, and I was not getting promotions, although we have found out that that would have been really bad for me for how I wanted my life to look. But I wasn't getting promotions. I wasn't getting raises. I wasn't, you know what I mean?
The
But if I had,
recognition was less because the right people weren't seeing what you were capable of and what you were
yeah,
bringing to the table.
mhm,
Because at the end of the day, your work doesn't actually speak, people do. So
yeah,
the right people have to see your work
yeah,
so
I
that they
didn't
can
get it.
speak about and make decisions about the
Mhm,
work that's actually happening. I think that, there's such a negative connotation in playing the game,
yeah,
and the game is played inside and outside of corporate. So whether you work for a small business and maybe you see the owner of the business every single day, just because you see them every day doesn't mean that they're mentally aware of the impact that you're having on their business, right? There's
mhm.
got to be strategy in that.
Right, and they're not keeping score, you have to help them keep score,
Yeah.
right? You have to help
Yeah.
them play the game with you. Mhm.
Absolutely. And so it's not just a corporate thing. Playing the game is everywhere. But I don't think that playing the game is a bad thing unless you're doing it wrong,
Mhm. Yeah,
right?
if you ask Dan Alt, so he always says that Samantha knows how to play the game. Like, she will figure out every job that she has, every friend group, every, like,
Hmm.
you have to put your ego aside sometimes, and you have to play the game, because the game's going whether you're playing or not.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You can choose not to play it well, but you're in the game whether you like it or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. So it's like, if you want to just sit there on the floor while everyone else is playing around you, you know, that's your
Yeah,
decision. But if you can figure out how to play the game with everybody, as long as you're not manipulative and doing something
right.
shady, play the game. There's nothing wrong with it. There shouldn't be anything negative about it. It's just, it's happening whether you're playing or not.
Yeah, and if you choose to sit on the sidelines or, like you said, just sit on the floor and let the game
Mhm.
happen, it doesn't like make you noble. It makes you invisible. People
Yeah.
just don't see.
Invisible.
You are putting in effort and hard work and probably making a huge impact, and you'll never get the recognition for it
Hmm.
because there's nobody shining the lights in the dark corners that you're choosing to sit.
Hmm.
You have
Yeah.
to bring your own flashlight.
Yeah. We've used a lot of metaphors so far in
Yeah,
this, but it
I don't
makes
really know
sense.
why, but it's good.
Yeah, it all makes sense, right? So I spent a lot of time being invisible, not to
Mhm.
everybody. There was always people who were like, "Girl, you're
Yeah.
good at this," or "We couldn't have done this without you." But in general, it wasn't the people who needed to hear.
Yeah. There was not strategy
No,
in
there was no
who knew.
strategy.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people don't wanna play the game because they don't wanna be fake, right? Like,
Hmm.
I don't want to have to go out and beat my chest, and I don't like people who are like that, so I'm not gonna be that way.
Hmm.
And I would agree, you don't need to do those things. But
Hmm.
if you are not going to be willing to show the people who need to see your value what your value actually is, then they're not gonna know.
Hmm.
So you have to take out the negative connotation of like gloating or self-promoting, and it's simply just communication.
Yeah. Well, and I think I see it the same way, because I did have a really big problem with this. This was something I
Mhm.
was like, I'm not trying to go out and brag about the things that I've done. And this happened for me in two different ways. One of them
Mhm.
was that other people bragged on me, right? So like, I did
Yeah.
something and people who were louder gave me loud credit for it. That's
Mhm.
great. The other way to do it is what I like to call shameless self promotion. And I always I mean, we teach everyone on social media to do this,
To humble
is
brag.
the humble brag. It's not look at what I did, because that is off putting to some people. They're like, ew. But if it's more of a thank you so much to this person for the opportunity to help you do this, it's
Yeah.
totally different. So if you are thinking about that email that you want to brag about what you did, but it feels inauthentic to do that, it's more like send out an email. Thank you so much to all these people who helped get this project done.
Yeah,
Now,
and
it's
here are the
clearly
results. Like
your
recap emails are an excellent way to frame your accomplishments and copy the right people, because you can do that in a way not just that is going to highlight this is something that I headed up and I accomplished, but
Mhm,
you're giving props to all of the other people. And to your point, Mandy, you had people in your corner that
mhm,
would send thank yous or be much louder about what you were able to accomplish with them.
mhm.
Be that person for other people, because at
Yep.
the same time that you're doing that, you're shining a light on what you accomplished as well. At the end of the day, self-promotion, if you do it right, it's not bragging. It's just translating results to the people that need to know what the results are. I sometimes would, and I don't know about you, but like when we would copy people on emails and recaps and things like that, it was like, "Ugh," before you hit send, like I don't want to hit the button because what if and then you hit
Yeah.
send and you're like have that pit in your stomach just because you're like, oh, I feel like I
Well, you're
just
putting
turned the
yourself out
flashlight on.
there.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, like these people were leading a company and expecting you to do your job and do it well and all the things. Like, why would they not want to know how things actually turned out?
Hmm.
What the status actually is. And they're going to know if it didn't go well, whether you tell them or not, right? Like people always find out what didn't go well. So why would you not want to magnify their exposure to what went really well, to be in
Hmm.
your own corner of what people say about you in the rooms that you're not in?
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
your personal brand 101,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And we did an episode on this. We'll have to look it up and put it in the show notes, which episode this was. But we talked about promoting yourself on social media so that you're ready for that next opportunity.
Mhm.
And we talked about how it made us uncomfortable. Some of the people who would literally share everything. It felt very, this is an internal thing. Why are we sharing this externally on
Yeah.
social media? And it felt to us at the time like bragging, right?
Mhm.
But this was a way the higher ups were seeing as well, right? They were seeing it, what had been accomplished, but it was also putting it out there and having proof for a future employer potentially to see what you've done. And I think that there needs to be a strategy, just like businesses have a social media strategy. There needs to be a strategy in place for how you're going to self promote in a way that feels really organic to you. And
Yeah.
that's where I think I've done a pretty good job in my business. This is the first time that I felt comfortable, and I don't even know if I would use the word comfortable promoting myself, but it was like I have to. There's no one who's going to do it for me like
Yeah.
in corporate. So I had to do it, but I feel like there has to be that even if you don't run your own business, even if you are in corporate, you need to have that strategy in place to be sharing things. And again,
Mhm.
it's the shameless self-promotion that is feels comfy to you. Thank the people who helped you.
Yeah.
Share a day in the life that shows that you finished this humongous project. There's so many
Mhm.
ways to do it, but you need to have a strategy because things that are uncomfortable to you, like promoting yourself, are going to go to the back burner. They just
Yeah.
will.
And I think, when it comes to that, especially the thank yous and all of that, like anytime that you have the opportunity to work with somebody from a different department or somebody outside of the scope of your normal team, like those cross-functional partnerships are really, really smart strategic relationships to have and to cultivate and to really highlight because just thinking about it from our corporate experience, when you have exposure to other departments and you do your job and you do it well, et cetera, or you bring other people into a project and you have the opportunity to build that relationship, when at the end of the day, when you have people from multiple departments who know what you're capable of, or at least have a positive work experience with you, when your name gets brought up in that one room where decisions are made and other people in the room, like they all have knowledge and understanding of like, "Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
you've
I've
got
worked with
fans
Mandy
in there
Alt on."
too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like, "She's fantastic." And then they're talking about somebody else where it's like, This other person may be 1,000 times better at their job than Mandy is,
Hmm.
but nobody in the room knows who she is or what she's actually done because nobody knows. That person is quietly hoping that their work speaks for themselves, but work does not have a mouth. It
No.
cannot speak. So
No, no,
it
not if the
changes
person isn't in the
everything.
room, right? If your boss who knows
Yeah.
how great you are, if your coworkers are not in the room, like you really do have to spread it out and you have to, again, build relationships. Like that really is what it's about.
Well, and the flip side of that too is that even if your boss is in the room, the reality is in the corporate world, your boss is not always your biggest advocate because
Mm-mm.
sometimes your boss will see you as a threat and want to keep you right where you're at.
Mm. This could happen.
So
That's a bad boss,
sometimes
but
skip
yeah.
level relationships, like having relationships like you were talking about, having relationships like uh, 2 levels above you or 3 levels above you can really help your visibility to not let any one leader be that person that's gonna be like, we're gonna keep her in her spot over here because I need her right where she's at." Or,
Mhm.
"She's gonna outshine me, so I'm gonna put her over here so that I can continue to get the accolades.
Yuck. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is very yuck. And luckily, that is not, a whole lot of our experience. We had people who wanted to lift us up. In fact, I feel like we had leaders that put us out there when I was like, why are we doing this? I see
Yeah.
it clearly now. Totally see it clearly now. But yeah, having the more relationships you can have, the better. However, I will say having strategic relationships in the right positions in the right places is going to far outweigh the quantity of relationships that you have. I feel like on our team in general, in our experience at corporate, I was a very well liked person
Mm-hmm.
across the
Absolutely.
company. Across the company, people liked me because I was more focused on like the fun and the relationship side of those things when I got to meet people. Like I wanted to form genuine relationships with them. And
Uh-huh.
it was less about the work, if you will. But when those two things merge, that's where like superpower is. I don't think I was as strategic with that power as I could have been had I seen it for what it was in the moment.
Yeah.
Hindsight's
100%.
2020.
Yeah. 100%. It's that all was a lot harder for me because of how I sometimes saw it.
It's a zoo up in here, guys.
Wally says hi. Say hi, Wally.
Hi, Wally.
So I it was a little bit harder for me. There was advice given to me that made me feel uncomfortable that no, my work should just, I mean, my numbers alone, this is before I was promoted, my numbers alone should be enough to, and it's like, once you get on the other
No.
side of that, you're like, no, I'm looking at all, and it's all
There's too
about
many
who promote.
numbers.
Yes, there's too many numbers. There's
There's
too
just
many
too many
people who
numbers.
are incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. But looking back, that would have been good for me, right? I got the promotion. That wasn't the problem, but there were so many things that I could have had more of, done better, more opportunities had I been promoting myself. Some people are still going to say, even with the advice that you guys have given, I still don't feel super comfy with that.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
just get in front of the right people. All right.
Mhm.
So put yourself, I mean, goodness, I don't know if you have choices. We had choices a little bit of what we put our name on and what we signed up for to do extra things.
Mhm.
And some of them were sexier than others. Some of them might not have been as sexy, but they put you on a team with people who were important to be on a team with.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking the CEO, right? Just leaders from other departments.
Yeah.
And you need to spread it out. You need to work with as many people as you can and make a good impression on as many people as you can so you have more fans
Yeah, there's a
overall.
difference between choosing a project to work on because it's gonna make the biggest impact or it's work that you're really, really passionate about, and choosing to be on a project to position yourself politically, you know, for visibility.
Uh,
And that's where strategy comes into all of the things. And I really wish that I had listened to a podcast or talked to somebody that could help me discern those things, because I always went straight for the work that I was passionate about or something that I'd never done before to get more experience. We've talked about this where it was
yeah.
like mine, mine, mine. Like everybody
Mhm.
wanted to do everything because
Yep.
I hadn't done that yet.
Mhm.
I wish that I'd been a little bit more strategic in
Mhm.
choosing things that were not just the things that I really loved to do, but positioned me to work with people that were going to be beneficial relationships for me to have. Because
Well,
it's harder to build a relationship with those people when you don't have the purpose of like working on a task or a project together.
I think that you did a really good job, though. One of the things that you did choose was a huge tracker that impacted every single person who did our job. And
Which is funny because that was accidental. I did that
yes,
for myself because I wanted that to
you
be
wanted it to
better,
be better.
and then it exploded into a thing that impacted everyone because
Mm,
it worked, thank
yes.
God.
Yeah, thank God it worked, right? Because you could have also fallen on your face in front of
They
everybody.
could have been like, "Why did you waste 80 hours working on
Yeah.
this damn thing that sucks?"
Yeah, agreed. But the fact that you did a good job at it and that it impacted so many people means that you built relationships with more people, and
Mhm.
everybody who had never met you, who had never worked with you one on one,
Yeah.
now knew what you were capable of. And those are the types of things. We're not just talking about getting in front of the CEO and the people who
Yeah.
make decisions
It's
on
just putting yourself on the
promotions.
map.
Yes, yeah. You just have to get in front of them. Ask to be in charge of something for the meetings that you put on, something that makes it so that you're not invisible, right? Because I
Yeah.
know everybody knew my name, right? We all there weren't that many people. There were only what, like 50 people in the department. Well, I guess
Mm.
with the so maybe 65. So like that's not too many people to know everybody's names, right?
Right.
But I was just another person who worked in the field, to some
Yeah.
people, and then to some people, I was their lifeline
Mhm.
when they needed advice. So, how do you become a lot more people's lifeline? How do you become,
Or the right people's
yes,
lifeline.
yes, right, not you don't wanna be everyone's lifeline, geez, when you have time to do your own job. But if you're on this
That becomes a
track
problem too.
yeah, if you're on this track where you are trying to move up to the next level in your business, in your in the company that you work for, getting in front of people in general, like you don't need to be that climber who's always just talking to the bosses. Like you need to make relationships with everybody because again, you can't be in every room. But
Mhm.
if everybody has something good to say about you that runs across you, that's huge because a lot of people, I would say, don't really have any experience with them,
Yeah.
you
Be
know?
like, "I recognize the name, but that's about
Mhm.
it." Or
Yeah,
maybe I've never even heard that name
right.
before.
I know she's on a good team, but I don't know anything else about it, right?
Yeah.
So get in front of those people, and anybody could be the right person. You don't know who that is. So make
That's
relationships a
fair.
big deal.
And if you are still struggling with, like, "This feels cringy to, like, showcase my results in something,"
Uh-huh.
I would encourage you to start by just documenting your wins weekly, monthly. Don't wait and do it yearly, right? But like keep a tab on what those wins are, not just the tasks that you completed, but like what is the impact that you made with these things. And the more you document them for yourself, the more you're going to be able to speak to them naturally, organically in conversation when the, opportunity arises. And when things like, performance reviews and things like that, you come with an arsenal of what your value really looks like. And
Uh-huh.
when you get comfortable with that, it's a lot easier to go, I'm totally going to copy the CEO or I'm totally going to copy the head of accounting to say
Yeah.
thank you to this other person who helped and give, the accolades. It's a
Uh-huh.
lot easier to do that when you start to really believe in the wins that you're doing.
Yeah. And we had Allison on talking about HR stuff.
Mhm.
And she was saying that you need to keep track of all of your wins because when you're building your resume, you're going to need that stuff. So
Yeah,
keep
whether you
writing
stay or
everything
go.
down. So at some point, you'll need it. So hang on to it. And writing down things that you did well, that's really good for just your own,
Yeah.
patting yourself on the back sometimes. So all good things.
I agree. I definitely do. I think that that cringeworthy or even like the "Ugh, this feels slimy" is something that holds people back from getting in front of the right
So
people for
much.
sure. But like if you have any sort of documented results from something that you were able to, accomplish, especially if it's with other people, copying leadership on an email or giving a shout out through Slack or Teams or like whatever your source of communication is, anytime you're able to pass that on and give a thank you, it feels a lot less cringy than it does to be self promoting.
Mhm. Yeah, my other advice and something that I didn't realize was going to be so helpful for my business
Hmm.
is giving. right? Giving first, and then it helps open up doors to relationships, but to people talking about you
Yeah,
and
because 'cause you're giving them
content.
something to talk about.
Yeah, and content for social media. And, there's so many things. I started to do free classes because it was something that was missing after I left corporate teaching people. I wasn't really teaching people so much. And so I started to offer those so that I could fill that little void. And I was like, "Ooh, this helps bring in business. That's fantastic. We're going to keep doing that."
Mhm.
And but people started talking about me. "Oh my gosh, Mandy did this class and now I know how to do my social media," or "Thank God now I can figure out Canva." And now you've got fans out there promoting you, which is great.
Because you invested into them.
Yeah, but also I think that I am a pretty giving person. I give more than I take, I believe.
Yeah.
People always say that you're so generous. I love that. And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's really nice," right? Because that's not what that was for. If I was just manipulating generous out there, it wouldn't
Yeah.
feel right to me. But I'm glad that that was a byproduct of doing
Mhm.
those classes. And it fills up my cup and it helps move my business along. People are talking about me in other rooms and they're saying nice things. That's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. So I always say, give of yourself, right? And you
Yeah.
will get things back. That is probably my favorite way to play the game of
It's a
business.
very authentic and genuine way to
Mhm.
play the game.
Yes, I agree. So when you're again feeling cringy about some of the things that you could be doing to help promote yourself in corporate or in small business,
Yeah.
that might be a way.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What can I give?
Yep.
Because people are gonna talk about it. Give
Yep.
them something to say. And,
Absolutely.
it all kinda ties back into your personal brand, right? What do you want them to say? If you don't control that narrative,
Yeah.
somebody else is going to.
Write the script. Yeah, write the
Yeah.
script for them by just being
Uh-huh.
out there showing them that that's who you are.
Yep, I
I love
agree.
that very much.
Well, this is very powerful stuff. It's definitely a part where people are like, I'm not copying people on the right email, but if you are in a situation and you are not allowed or it is frowned upon to have a wider audience on some of the results that it is that you have to share, like if you have a recap email or, great news from a project that of an impact that you were able to make and you're not able to put that in front of the right people, I would dig deeper and gut check as to why that is.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that would be so crazy to me because it
Mhm.
just isn't something that we've ran into. But yes, I'm
Yeah.
sure that there are bosses who are like, "Why did you copy the CEO on this?"
Right.
Yeah, the ones who
Yeah,
are
and
trying to get in your way.
to be fair, right? Like, be smart about who you're copying, make it relevant
Hmm.
to the audience that you're sending it to.
Hmm.
You don't wanna necessarily copy the head of accounting on something that has absolutely nothing to do with anything that they might be concerned about.
Hmm.
But if you're able to shout out a win or be thankful for a partnership of somebody on their team, yes, that is somebody that you need to inform to be that
Absolutely.
cheerleader for somebody else. And in turn, it's coming from you.
Hmm.
They're gonna see your name associated with something really positive that happened with the company.
Yeah. And one last thing, something that we haven't touched on is that when we're talking about office politics, you have to think about real politics too, and do not get a reputation for being a gossip, for being
Mhm.
always late, for screwing over your coworkers, for, this is all PR. You have to figure out how to only look good in other people's eyes, right? So some of the politics is really just don't be
Yeah.
negative. Don't be talking shit about coworkers to anybody because then you get that reputation.
Yeah, because even it like, A, they could agree with you, and you could go down that rabbit hole. Maybe you're right, so it's justifiable in a way. But at the end of the day, whether you're right or not, whether it's justifiable or not, that person that you're talking to is probably thinking, "Hmm, I didn't know she was the kind of person that would say something like this about a
Yeah.
coworker.
She's very good at her job, but she's a bitch, right?
Yeah.
She talks behind everyone's
Or,
back
"Hmm,
or
this is not somebody I'm gonna tell my secrets to."
yeah.
And I mean, we're all guilty of that, right? Like, you learn your lessons the hard way. However, I will say that I have totally been in that spot where I'm like, "I'm not proud to have been a part of that conversation." Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, we all have. And we have openly admitted that there does have to be some management of
Yeah.
not letting yourself get in those situations.
Mhm.
And it's just as important as all the good PR that you're putting out there. Like
Yeah.
you have to manage the negative, and it's so easy. You know, we've all screwed up at work, right? We've all had situations where we're like, I don't think I'm going to come back from that. Like
Yeah,
I said a thing and that is not what I want to be known for.
definitely.
So, how do we manage that? And then how do we go back? And again, the politics game is like we need way more instances of good to cover up the one bad. So,
Yeah. And I think the fastest way to cure that is get used to the idea that your CEO is copied on every email or is a third party in every personal conversation. I say personal, in
yeah.
every one-on-one conversation that you
Mhm.
have.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't say it with them copied on it,
Mhm.
maybe you don't say it at all.
Mhm. Yep. And I think that it gets really hard when you get really comfortable at a job to always keep your professional hat on. We would always say friend hat, and
Yeah.
we had a circle of trust, but sometimes you don't have that circle of trust with some of the people at work. You can have
You
a
think you
friend,
do, and it's
yeah,
not quite what you thought.
yeah, you can have a friend hat and it relates to outside of work friend stuff, right? We're not
Yeah.
we're not putting on the work hat with everybody in the office about the office because just like any relationship, it can go bad at any time. And with work
Yeah.
relationships, there's more competition there than with your normal relationships. So you just pay attention to it and remember that politics goes both ways. It can help you, it can hurt you.
Yeah, and if you don't manage it, it will manage you, and that's not a seat you wanna be in.
No, not at all. Not at all. If you need to tell somebody your secrets because you can't tell anyone your secrets at work, tell them to us.
Yeah, we wanna know.
We want to tell them on the podcast anonymously, of course. So, if
Anonymously.
there's something that's going on at work or something that happened at work 20 years ago and you just feel like you need to get it off your chest, we would love to tell your story and get people to weigh in on, what they think and just get it out there. So, please go to the corporate burnout / secrets and they will be anonymous and we would love to read them on here. You could hear your story shared. That's all I have for today. What about you?
I am really excited about hearing secrets. So whether it's political drama, maybe it's stories of terrible bosses. I'm trying to give examples because I really want people to just participate here. We did get a submission
It was a
last
short
week
one. Yeah, it was a short one.
of a secret.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's worthy of sharing on here. So, Mandy, are you going to do the honors?
I don't know if you guys are ready for this secret. All right. When I meet a new person at work, male, they put just males,
Uh-huh.
I wonder how big or small their penis is. LOL.
Have you been seeing the trend of catching print?
Well, yeah,
That's all I can think about now.
I know.
That's all
And
I can think about.
right. And so I think that this is hilarious and also obviously came from a woman. I mean, it didn't have to, but I think it came from a
I think it
woman.
did.
Yeah. And this would be a whole different thing if it was about, a woman instead of a
Yeah.
man
Uh-huh.
because that's sexual harassment if you were
Yeah.
to follow through on something like that, asking about something
But
like
I
that.
mean, it's just honest. I'm just
Yeah,
wondering.
it's something that I wonder. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's the kind of secret that you should anonymously submit rather than vocalizing out loud at your job.
yeah,
Save yourself the trouble of a terrible reputation for saying words like that out loud and bring
mm,
them to us where we can talk about them for our pure entertainment.
yeah. Yeah, that was a good secret though, because seriously, that's something that you probably don't tell everybody that you meet. Like, I just want to
Yeah.
know what their penises look like. Is it big or is it small?
I know what your penis looks like. Okay, awkward. And there are some where I'm like, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to know nothing.
No, no, probably most of them.
Okay, we have definitely gone to the gutter now in
Yep,
this
yep.
episode,
We're
so
all the
we're
way
gonna
there.
call it, and we
Yes.
will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.